And now, back to Boston's only urban morning show.
I just wanna be honest with you.
Chicken heads, bird brains, and know-nothings. All beware. It's time for you to squat up dial because Notorious in the Morning is on your radio with Boston's smartest listening audience. Boston's brownest and brightest.
That's a little major. Name of the song is called Honest. Notorious in the Morning, that wake your ass up morning show. On a thorough good Thursday, of course, thoroughly getting enlightened and staying awoke in all the issues that's relevant to our daily lives, our urban community. So wow, all the chicken head, bird brains, know nothing, do nothings. Up dial are celebrating thirsty because they thirst that knowledge that only we have. 87.7. Mandatory listening for urban folks in the city of Boston. Brownest and brightest 617-440-877 is the number. And lots of stuff to talk about this morning. Seems as if spring has finally arrived in the being. Although today it's a little wet, a little damp yesterday as well, and will be throughout the day, of course, according to the forecast. Looking a lot better once we head into the weekend. Saturday should be reasonably dry, and I use the word reasonably. I mean, it's been a tough spring, it seems. I'm not mad. I'm kind of a fall, spring guy. I can do without the winter. I can do without summer. But this is my time to shine. And, of course, shouts to all those who are listening online, B87 FM, on TuneIn app. Also, Radio FM, different platforms, as well as B87FM.com, and look for that B87 Play app. And from what I understand, we plan on resuming our live broadcast in the near future, in part based on just the hundreds, if not thousands, of combined email and phone calls and text messages and social media posts. And it's clear to us that the service we provide, the voice we add to Boston's often forgotten, marginalized, and not representative urban community on radio. I think radio is meant to be the people's airwave. I often talk about the fact that while we celebrate Juneteenth here in Boston, it relates to the fact that for a very long time, a lot of our brothers and sisters, after we were freed, took a while for folks to find out. Took a while for the news to travel to certain parts of the country, and that was deliberate. And what it says is communication is important. And some folk, Donald Trump has weaponized all facets of government, and he has weaponized the FCC with a particular mandate to ensure that urban communities of color, specifically immigrant communities as well, are not informed, don't have a voice, are not aware of what's going on. So as they attack on all sides, we won't know. They're creating a situation similar to what we celebrated and acknowledged during Juneteenth. They want us to fight with our hands tied behind our backs. We don't want our people to see them coming, to be aware of what they are doing. And believe me, they're coming and they're doing. And it's important that you have someone representing and catering to those folks, because the big corporations, the big money guys who cater to that 18 to 25 or 35 cume, and those that manipulate playlists and based on certain numbers, and the ones that call themselves bringing R&B back or bringing black back or bringing this back, they're not bringing anything back. But we are the voice of Boston's urban community, and we'll continue to be that. And we need folks to stand behind us because we heard from you. And we have a list of folks that just called and said, this is my name, this is my number, call me up, what can we do? And pretty soon we'll let you know what you can do. But in the meanwhile, we got some stuff to talk about, some news, a lot of stuff, including late breaking news this morning on the governor's race. Talk a little bit about that. Bruins advance to Game 7. Celtics will be playing a game today, and let's hope it's a last game. Either way, they'll be back in the Garden on Saturday, either against the 76ers or a Game 7 against the Bucks. I prefer a Game 1 against the 76ers. Bring them on. I am so ready. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And Yawkey could get a new name today after delaying for 2 weeks. Members of Marty Walsh's hand-picked Public Improvement Commission today is expected to vote on the street name change proposal by the Red Sox. And make no mistake about it, it's Marty Walsh's decision, and black folks should be mindful of what that decision is. It's one thing to use tax dollars of a majority-minority city, that's your tax dollars, to build a brand new Boston on the seaport, on the waterfront, that our tax dollars cleaned up. By the way, Seaport District, a new Boston, that's even wider than the old Boston, if that's even possible. It's one thing to do that with no pushback from elected officials, a lot of enthusiasm from all facets of government, from governor to the mayor, city councils. Nobody had a problem with it. Black folks pretty much represent what they represented in the rendering of what folks had hoped the waterfront would be. We were extras, pedestrians, passerbys, just there for a little backdrop, a little color. And that's what the Seaport District is. Black folks didn't participate in any of the construction jobs and pretty much any of the jobs. We're not reflected in the businesses. There's no push to ensure that there's a diverse population residing in the Seaport District. There was no real component of affordable housing. So it's wider than the old Boston. That's one thing. And folks make all type of excuses. Boston is a place where there's not much dissent. You have a lapdog press that caters to whoever the powerful mayor happens to be. He rules the day, and they allow them a lot of latitude just so they can get access. And so they're in on it too. But today is one of those days of reckoning that speaks where action speaks louder than words, or even policies, or even platitudes, or all the things that they shove down the throats of the majority minority in the city. Because they're going to make a decision. Either they're going to choose to keep Boston in the past, either they're going to represent a time when Boston celebrated, not just tolerated, but celebrated a racist point of view, a racist, uninviting environment for people of color. Today, they'll decide if the city's going to stay there, embrace that, or we're going to try to move the page. Now, renaming Yawkey Way is not a magic pill. It's not going to change a lot of the institutional racism that is part of the fabric of Boston. But what it will say is we have the ability to change. We have the willing to change, the political will to change. Because without that, everything else is just background, just platitudes, just lip service. The mayor talks a lot about race. There's not a race conversation that he's not there for, but it's all talk. Because once the conversation is over, he goes back to the business of doing nothing to ensure that the net worth of the average person of color in the city moves beyond $8. A Happy Meal, small fries, Diet Coke. Does nothing to make sure that a group of folks who only represent less than 25% of the population account for 75% of the stops of his police department. Does nothing to ensure that that police department, that fire department, and all levels of city governance reflect folks who live here. They hide behind a broken, antiquated civil service exam, while other cities that value diversity have chose to go in a different direction. So that's what today is about. It's not just about renaming a street. It's about values. It's about what Boston represents. I know they'll tell you Boston represents a city on the move, a place that GE will choose to go to after we sell out funding of necessary services for our young folk, where we're turning over the city troves to places like Amazon. Not because it's going to bring good jobs, because look at where they're pitching, what they're pitching. They're trying to lure folks from Amazon that's going to be a part of that Seaport District crowd. It's not for us. A report just came out that said, if Amazon chooses Boston, it's going to be another barrier for renters, because that's going to go sky high. Today is a choice. Let's see which one Boston chooses. 18 past the hour, 7 o'clock. Notorious in the morning. Boston's Wake Your Ass Up morning show. I'm that unapologetic voice. The voice, by the way, that not just a lot of local politicians wish would shut up, but apparently so does Donald Trump. So does his FCC. We're going to get to some music. Got a break coming up on the other side of that. I got all your headlines, got some traffic update, weather, all that and more. Notorious in the morning. That Wake Your Ass Up morning show.
More Notorious in the morning on the way.